The air ride truck versus the stock 3500. It feels like every video that I've planned outside, it also happens to be the day that it is ridiculously windy. Let that thing warm up for a few minutes here. Anticipating delivery of our new compressor shortly. I'm so sorry for the wind too, guys. We gotta do what we gotta do. Sometimes you just gotta push forward. It's a little windy out here in Pennsylvania. Hopefully our audio and our camera crew's working well. Alright guys, so again, sorry about the wind. It might actually help muffle a little bit of the audio and maybe not at all. Dang dude, you're really getting in there for them shots, bro. You're getting rock dust all over my lens.
It's not rock dust.
But it's alright, anything for you guys. Alright guys, so today's video is one that's pretty much long overdue. Since we finished up Green Diesel Giveaway 14, 2017 Super Duty that one of you is going to be taking home with the Kelderman Air Ride Kit, we actually haven't really made a video specifically on how it tows. Today, have said truck, have said trailer, and we have a skid steer, but we're not going to tow that today. We're going to tow Delmonico, our test subject, our tow subject, our 2019 5th Gen. That's the truck that we're going to tow today. Maybe because like that trailer's not rated to tow that machine, but who would ever put that machine on that truck? Probably for pictures.
Yeah.
Somebody probably did it for pictures, but luckily somebody else delivered it here for us.
Exactly.
Anyway, guys, today, testing out our 5 to 6 inch kit on our Kelderman Air Ride. Super sorry about the audio, by the way, scroll moment there. There's nothing we can do about Mother Nature just farting all over us today. We got a Kelderman 5 to 6 inch air ride kit on this thing, full air ride all the way around. As a lot of you know, it's pretty badass because you can level it out. You can self-level where you want it to. You can go all the way up, all the way down. It's got self-leveling. We don't have that enabled right now, but we're gonna turn it on here later. So we'll actually be able to hook up this thing, and when it gets a load, it will self-level out to calibrate accordingly for the payload that it has behind it. A cold start on the Super Duty?
I think it's a must.
Dodge keys. Okay. All right. We have to warm up our tow pig that's getting towed. Ah, yes. Listen, hold on. 6-7 coming. What's your least favorite weather? Comment below. Mine is wind. I hate wind. And if you guys are curious about what we just took delivery of, this is our new 80-gallon Ingersoll Rand dual motor compressor that now we're going to be bringing down to the shop. We were going to bring it down today, but the back of Delmonico is full of a bunch of trash from sandblasting cabinet that this thing's going to help support. We'll get it down there eventually. Alright guys, so here's the deal. We got Delmonico here on the gooseneck, got everything hooked up, and we are cruising on some nice back country roads. The whole intent of this video is to basically compare a truck that's on airbags versus a truck that is factory equipped. So to start, we're gonna tow around with our F-250, and I'm gonna give you guys my uncanny opinion about how this thing feels, and Jake will chime in a little bit too about what it feels like to ride the passenger seat of a truck that's towing another truck. And then we're gonna do the exact same thing with Delmonico, and we're gonna throw Dream Diesel Giveaway number 14 on the trailer. So it's gonna be a nice little kind of A-B test, or kind of a live comparison between what is a factory equipped truck and a truck with what is a pretty expensive air ride setup. And I guess the final question will be that will hopefully help you answer through our experiences today, and that we'll give you guys a little bit of feedback on is air ride actually worth it? So we got this nice little back country road loop that we're gonna be taking, and boy oh boy, by no means is it actually flat. There's a lot of bumps and curves and turns, and this truck that we're driving right now, that one of you is gonna be inevitably driving once you take it home, if you decide to get entered, is equipped with the Kelderman 5 to 6 inch air ride up front and in the rear. This is a full 4-link conversion for the back end and an airbag swap up front. So there's no longer really any of the actual factory suspension components on this thing. MSRP for this lift kit with shipping is just south of $14,000. Now, we really haven't been able to tow with it all that much, so we're really gonna kind of give you our unsolicited opinion and let you guys know if it's actually truly worth the investment and who it might benefit more than others. Now, obviously, Air Ride is on the big semis, the Class A drivers, and the Class A drivers are very familiar with it. So with your experience, you might already know the answer to the kind of test that we're doing today. So just as a recap real quick, Kelderman advertises that these lift kits really do two things. It improves the overall ride quality of the truck, and it improves towing capability, and in turn kind of increases the overall payload that the truck can hook up to. Now, of course, manufacturers have their limits on the body, the chassis, etc., but I'm sure that there's a little bit of wiggle room between what these things can actually tow factory versus what the actual bodies can handle themselves. Now, right now we're cruising with 66 pounds of air in each bag up front and about 32 pounds of air in each bag in the rear, and that's getting us nice and level. So we've only driven here about a mile. We're just going over an overpass over an interstate, and I'll tell you what, it's soft. It's noticeably softer than any of the other trucks that I've ever towed with. My 2020 Denali has helper bags in the rear, so it still has its leaf springs intact. The helper bags are there to actually help to offset some of the payload that's pretty much in the back of the truck. Now, those helper bags can also help level out, and then really you're kind of somewhat riding on air because you're actually somewhat stressing out the leaf spring. And in my experience, going from towing with the Denali without helper bags to with helper bags, it made a tremendous difference in ride quality because of that added air assistance. And with this truck, it is notably the exact same kind of effect. We're truly riding on air. When we hit bumps and handle bumps, there's not metal on metal on metal. Rather, it's metal, metal, and air in between, which helps to disperse. Yo, that's the sickest ringtone ever, though. Don't even lie.
Yo.
Listen to that.
Your phone is bringing the sounds that this truck makes right now.
Yes, I recorded the sound of this truck on my phone and made it my ringtone because it sounds so goddamn good. So we're cruising around these really nice Pennsylvania back roads, and you guys can see they're not just straight roads. So we're taking turns, and we're really trying to kind of maneuver this thing around with a decent amount of weight on the back. And all I can really kind of keep going back to is the fact that it's like very smooth. It's very, very smooth compared to what I'm used to, which is generally a pretty stiff ride. Like, we're hitting some bumps right now, and it feels really, really good. It's not like you're feeling a ton of weight moving behind you. You don't feel this kind of, you know, what am I trying to say right now? You don't kind of feel like you're being pushed around or you're being shoved around with like a bunch of weight behind you.
Yeah. When we took 8-ball out to Ohio, I remember that feeling of the gooseneck kind of pushing you as you're trying to slow down or turn or anything. But in this, it's just plush.
And at 20 miles an hour, and it's planted, man. Feels super good. The one misconception that I had before actually hooking up to a trailer with this truck was the feeling of like weight transfer. Now, I knew that there's an air manifold that specifically controls what bag has what PSI, and it doesn't allow any of that transfer to take place. And it's exactly what it does. It does it really well, to the point that if you closed your eyes, you know, you wouldn't even know that you were driving around on airbags.
Disclaimer though, don't close your eyes when you're driving.
Yeah, I wouldn't suggest that. Wouldn't suggest that at all. But if you're accustomed to driving F-250s and then you got in this F-250, you would definitely notice a difference. Now, sorry, most of this video is being filmed inside the truck. We're obviously trying to avoid the weather today because we don't want the video to just be howling wind and reverberation in your ears the entire time. While it's fresh in our minds, we're gonna jump in the Ram, we're gonna take it off the trailer, we're gonna hook it up to the trailer and get the Ford on the trailer, give some initial just A/B comparisons, and then we're gonna give you guys our final takeaways here at the end of the video. So if you're really trying to vet out whether or not an Air Ride setup is right for you, definitely stay tuned to the end of the video. All right, guys, so now we are in the 5th gen, 2019 5th gen Dodge Crew Cab. And this is actually the first time I'm gonna be towing with this thing. 3,500, so we have an extra leaf in the back. 1-ton truck versus the 3/4 ton truck. But in this instance, it's not like it really matters because we're comparing one versus the other. So we're gonna take the exact same route. We literally just had our asses planted in the heated seats of the F-250. Now we have our asses planted in the heated seats of the Ram. Not a bad environment to jump to though, like one or the other.
I think the Dodge seats get a little bit warmer than the Ford seats.
Dude, this thing gets freaking toasty. Sometimes I literally have to actually turn it off because I'm like, all right, cool the freak down.
I'm gonna fall asleep.
Like, actually cool down. So right off the get-go, I don't know if you guys noticed, but like just the camera in and of itself is inherently more jittery because you feel every single bump. Like, I don't know how well I'll be able to like drive this home, but like we're gonna hit these little bumps right here, and like you feel every single one.
And keep in mind, guys, I am trying to keep the camera as steady as I can, and that's just how it's coming through.
Take that any day of the week, boys.
This thing sounds amazing towing. Wow.
All right, so now to reinforce my point right now, like you feel every single bump in the road. There's the suspension and then there's the rebound of a shock, right? You feel that with the leaf spring because you're compressing it as you go into a bump. And as you come out of a bump, it rebounds. So naturally, you're gonna get more of a springy feel, which you would expect from a leaf spring, but I guess in this context, this is kind of why we wanted to do this side-by-side comparison, because you don't feel that with air ride. It's not like that at all. There's not as much rebound. There's the compression of the air, but there's not an immediate rebound because it gradually comes back in. So now that I'm actually driving them side by side, it's inherently different.
It's like, way different.
What about you from the driver or from the passenger side?
Well, just from holding the camera, I can tell it's a pain.
Yeah, it's night and day difference, actually. Like, there's a noticeable difference pairing one versus the other. This has 0 helper bags. We are purely on a 3500 leaf spring on a 2019 Ram.
Yeah, you definitely feel that pushing and the pulling a lot more in this truck than you did in the Ford.
Big time, man, big time. So like, yes, it does feel like it's pushing you into turns more. And as you're taking turns, yeah, I would say the biggest difference is the ride quality and how bumps are absorbed on that truck with air ride versus this truck without it.
I mean, even these little ups and downs, you can feel them exaggerated so much more. So
yeah,
the air ride would just eat it.
To any of my off-road racers, like whoops, like, you know, like the whoop-de-doos or whoop sections, like you feel that. And if any of you have ever raced off-road and you've dialed in your suspension to like your weight settings, it makes a world of difference. And whereas on air ride, it kind of just all averages out. Really no need to make the adjustments versus on a truck like this, like you're essentially just riding on steel.
Try not to smile.
Now we're back on that same really nice windy road, and taking these turns with air ride versus your traditional coil spring, can't really say I noticed much of a difference. But I think in this conversation, that's a really good thing, because coil springs make you feel really planted. Air ride, I was a little concerned that it wouldn't feel as grounded and it would feel, yeah, like floaty or like plush when you were taking turns. But fortunately, that is not the case. Same turn at 20 miles an hour. Just as planted. Needless to say, in this truck, you feel everything. In that truck, you don't. So there's a very big truth to Kelderman's claim of improved ride quality. No ifs, ands, or buts. Change of scenery, guys. We ended up coming over to the shop, A, to get out of the freaking annoying wind, and B, check out this beauty right here. We got this thing powered and wired up, ready to rock and roll for what will be our sandblasting projects. I was kind of bummed that couldn't sandblast the running boards. Like we just got the sandblaster and we couldn't sandblast them. All right, we also wanted to come down to the shop just to get out of the wind so we could kind of summarize our experiences here with the air ride truck versus the stock 3500. So as we had said, notably, there's a big difference in the overall suspension responsiveness. If you go air ride, you're pretty much guaranteed comfort. You stick to stock, you're gonna have to deal with that kind of suspension and rebound, so you're gonna feel a lot of the big and little bumps in the road. That is probably the biggest takeaway from the Kelderman air ride kit versus stock. So then you kind of get into the question of like, who is that kit good for? In my personal opinion, I would get great use out of it, but I'm not keeping that truck. But for towing purposes, it is by far my preferred towing vehicle because of how comfortable it is. There's a massive difference between stock and air ride. So if you're somebody that's like a hot shotter, you're towing frequently, you own a construction company, you have equipment behind you, or you have a payload of some sort behind you, I actually think that air ride could really benefit you. So if you're watching this video to consider it, maybe you're looking for write-offs for your company to improve the overall value that you get out of your truck, then I think an air ride kit is an absolute no-brainer. Another benefit of air ride is, and we didn't get the shot because it was so windy, but even at that 3500 with the F250 on the trailer, the truck was squatting a lot. So you'd have to buy helper bags to even that thing out. That way it's not like your headlights are pointed up in the air and you can maintain a nice level ride the entire time. If you really don't care about that, then it's not that big of a deal. But if you want to maintain a nice level ride, air ride does that automatically, which I think is like a really nice added bonus. Plus overall, when driving that F250 compared to stock, it just rides better overall because you can control that PSI that are in the bags depending upon your driving situation. But if you're looking at this video just to see how cool air ride is and you want to be able to air down your truck when you park it, air it back up, drive away, or pull up to a stoplight and like air it down when somebody's checking it out and then air it back up, or go like this or go like this, and I mean, yeah, air ride's really freaking cool for that as well. And we're back out in the wind, but fortunately it's dying down a little bit. But that's where we're gonna wrap up this video. Thanks for bearing with some of the poor audio here in the beginning of the video. Glad we could do this comparison. Hopefully it helped anybody that's in the market for one of these lift kits. Like I said, if your company earned a little bit of extra money and you're trying to offset what it is that you owe with expendable items, that might be the move for you. And if you want a chance to win that truck, your time is limited, but you can still enter if you'd like. So it's this truck at 15 grand that's on the line, and our additional bonus prize week ends tomorrow if you want to be one of our 6 winners. The giveaway ends in total December 15th, so time is ticking. Subscribe, hit the like button, and tap the notification bell on your way out, and I'll see you on the next upload.